Welcome into Steelers Talk. I am your host, Jack Sperry, and today we're going to be covering a bunch of really juicy Steelers rumors that are floating around right now. First up, we're going to be talking about the latest Steelers injury updates on guys like Roman Wilson, Cole Holcomb. Could they potentially be coming back before the end of the season? And then we've got two new NFL mock drafts. One of them in particular is a very interesting quarterback linking to the Pittsburgh Steelers here in round one of the 2025 NFL draft. Before we get into the content today, make sure you guys click that follow button on my X account. You guys can find me at Jack_Sperry. I'm one of the lead NFL draft analysts here at Chat Sports, so we put up a bunch of draft content on my Twitter throughout the draft season this year. Plus, I put out daily Steelers content on there as well. So if you love football content, you love Steelers content, you're going to love what I put out on my X. You guys can find me at Jack_Sperry. Then you guys can also find us here at Steelers Talk on IG at Steelers CS. We put out short form content on that page every single day, so you get an extra bit of Steelers news and rumors content outside of this YouTube channel. So if you guys want to see that content, you can find us at Steelers CS. So let's start with the latest Steelers injury updates here, where Jerry Dulac of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette claims that there is a chance that linebacker Cole Holcomb could play for the Pittsburgh Steelers at some point during the 2024 season. If you'll remember, Cole had a really gruesome leg injury last year against the Tennessee Titans and has not hit the NFL field since then. We've been kind of just assuming that he wouldn't play at all this season, but according to Jerry, he is having a really good recovery and has a chance to play this year. This is what Jerry had to say about it. I can at least tell you his recovery has been outstanding, and to me, from what I've seen, I wouldn't be surprised if they add him back to the roster soon. At this stage of the season, imagine what fresh legs can do for the depth on the inside. And Jerry is right about one thing here, man. He's not right about a whole lot, but he is right that some fresh legs on the interior of this front seven here would be huge. And, you do have some nice depth at the inside linebacker position right now that you haven't had in recent years. Patrick Queen is your number one guy. Landon Roberts gets a lion's share of the number two snaps, but Peyton Wilson is playing quite a bit right now. And if you can inject Cole Holcomb, who was a starter for this football team last year, as your fourth inside backer for this playoff stretch here, I think that is definitely something that could be of value to the Steelers, and especially if, God forbid, Patrick Queen, Landon Roberts, or Peyton Wilson gets hurt, you have another starting capable guy that can come in and be a value for your defense. So I do think that if Cole Holcomb gets healthy enough, it's certainly a possibility he could be injected into this lineup here. I don't think he's going to be a full-time starter. He'd be the fourth guy in the rotation. That is, if he comes back. But especially if there's an injury here, Holcomb's addition could be the difference between not having much depth and having some depth come playoff time at that position. And then another guy that could potentially be coming back is Roman Wilson, the wide receiver. He kind of dealt with an ankle injury in training camp, and then he got another injury with his hamstring. And we just haven't seen a whole lot of him this year. And even when he was healthy, he was a healthy scratch for a majority of the time that he was trying to work his way into the lineup. But with a recent injury to George Pickens, some people are speculating whether Roman Wilson, who is getting healthy off of that hamstring injury, could make a comeback and really be injected into this offense towards the end of the season. Of course, the Steelers drafted him in the third round this year at number 84 overall. On the first padded practice, he actually had to leave in 7 shots because of that ankle injury that kept him out until the regular season. And then he's been on IR with a hamstring since week 8. So it's been a while since we've even talked about Roman Wilson on the show. But with George Pickens now out for probably the next 2 weeks, I would say at least. For sure this week, I would say, against Philly. It's really looking doubtful he plays against the Eagles. And then I would even say his status against the Ravens is definitely up in the air. And, if you got guys like Calvin Austin III, Van Jefferson, Mike Williams, you hope one of these guys can step up. But if none of them do and Roman Wilson gets healthy enough, why not try to inject him in there and see what he can do down the stretch and see if he can provide a spark to this wide receiver room. However, I think although it's not impossible that Roman Wilson sees the field by the end of the season, I do think at this point, as Mike Tomlin likes to put it, he'd be kind of getting on a moving train at this point. And for a rookie, that's definitely going to be a difficult thing to do. So if I'd have to guess right now, I don't think we see Roman Wilson. I think the Steelers are going to be banking on Mike Williams, Calvin Austin III, and Van Jefferson to carry the receiving load while George Pickens is out with this injury. So predict it for me down there in the comments section. Will Roman Wilson play another snap for the Steelers this season? Give me simply a yes or a no down there in the comment section for today's pinned comment. YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. And when that happens, take advantage of that time by giving me a yes or a no down there in the comments. So coming up here on Steelers Talk, we got 2 new NFL mock drafts, one of which connects a well-known quarterback to the Pittsburgh Steelers in round 1. We'll be breaking down that quarterback and why I think it could actually make a little bit of sense for the black and gold here in just a second. But first, to have a word from our sponsor here at Game Time, which is the fastest and easiest way to buy tickets for the sports, music, comedy, and theater in your area. And guys, there's still a couple games left to go see the Steelers live at Acrisure Stadium this season. If you guys want a chance to go and see the black and gold play live with those terrible towels flying in the wind in the cold weather, there's nothing like it, guys. You guys can use the brand new feature from our friends at Game Time, which is called Game Time Picks, and it filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. All you guys got to do is select the Game Time Picks button at the top of the screen when you go into an event you guys want to go see, and it automatically filters through their entire database to find you the best tickets with the best prices and the best views so that you and your family can get the best deals. What I love about using the Game Time app, and why it's the only ticketing app I have on my phone right now, is you get the lowest price guarantee on any ticket to any event, all in pricing so you don't get slapped with a crazy fee at checkout, and flash deals so you can get even cheaper tickets the closer you wait to game time. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time today. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS. It's one word, all caps, CHATSPORTS, for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. It's just for that first purchase, guys. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. So now A to Z Sports have linked Drew Allar, Penn State quarterback, to the Pittsburgh Steelers as a potential option for the black and gold in the tail end of the first round of the 2025 NFL Draft. They have the Steelers taking Allar with the 27th overall pick in their latest mock. This is what A.J. Schultz, the author of this mock draft, had to say about the fit. It's safe to say the Justin Fields experiment didn't work out for Pittsburgh. Russell Wilson has had a resurgence this season, but he'll be 37 when the season ends and is a pending free agent. The team needs a long-term solution under center. So I do think that this idea is intriguing to me because obviously a lot of people in Steelers Nation are very familiar with Drew Allar and his game. A lot of people in our community are Penn State fans. All right, and obviously everybody knows about his arm strength, his arm talent, the size that he brings to the table. He certainly has the arm to cut through the cold and the wind of the AFC North, so he's a fit in that regard. I will say, though, my number one priority and what I would love is for Russell Wilson and Justin Fields to be back as this team's quarterback tandem next season. Like Justin Fields, it's going to depend on whether Justin gets an opportunity to try and compete for a starting job next year. And if he gets that opportunity, I think he goes to another team to try and start somewhere else. But it's certainly possible at this point as well that he doesn't get that opportunity to start and he's back with the Pittsburgh Steelers next year. I think it's almost set in stone at this point, barring a major injury or a major drop-off from Russell Wilson. I think Russ is going to be back with this team next year pretty much no matter what. The question is, will Fields be returning? And if he doesn't return, I do think getting a guy that could, sit a couple years, that's extremely talented, that could learn a thing or two from Russell Wilson for 2 to 3 years before he eventually takes the job, that certainly fits the mold of a Drew Allar here, who I think needs to sit on a bench and learn from an NFL veteran for multiple years. And, you look at him right now, he's only 20 years old, so he's very moldable, still very young. And by the time Russ eventually leaves the Pittsburgh Steelers, you'd have somebody waiting in the wings that's still young and very talented to take over for Russ whenever he walks away from the Steelers. He has the size and arm talent that you look for in a franchise quarterback, especially in this division where you need somebody with a strong arm. You need somebody that can play in the elements, and Drew Allar certainly fits that. Plus, Drew Allar, in my opinion, because he is so raw, because he does have decision-making issues at times, mental processing issues at times, I do think that he needs to sit behind a veteran for potentially multiple seasons here, maybe 2 or 3 seasons, give him the Jordan Love treatment. And I think that you can do that with him here in Pittsburgh with Russell Wilson playing as well as he is and likely to sign a 2 to 3 year contract this offseason with the black and gold. And listen, man, plain and simply, last time you had kind of an aging quarterback in Big Ben Roethlisberger, I don't think they handled the situation very well in terms of preparing for the future. Ben retired, and then they pretty much drafted Kenny Pickett, and because Mitchell Trubisky wasn't worth his salt, you pretty much throw Pickett in there, and it really stunted his growth as a prospect, and it didn't work out. This would be a different approach where you have your current option in Russell Wilson when you're trying to win Super Bowls now, but then you have Drew Allar behind him to learn and grow and really develop behind Russell Wilson so that when Russ eventually walks away from this football team, you've got the future of the franchise waiting in the wings, ready to go, instead of having to rush, drafting a quarterback and then rush him out on the field. Omar Khan cannot make the same mistake that Kevin Colbert made when it comes to replacing an aging quarterback, and I think that the Steelers should be able to learn from their mistakes of the past with potentially a guy like Drew Allar. Now, make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already, because we got daily Steelers videos for you guys right here on Steelers Talk. We also have breaking news coverage whenever the Steelers make a big move, weekly live shows, including a weekly watch party where we have the largest watch parties for Steelers games anywhere on YouTube, and it's all 100% free. Join the over 70,000 people that have already clicked that subscribe button and joined our family today. If you love Steelers content and you want content on this team every single day, this will be the place for you. Click that subscribe button right now. Now, my take on the Drew Allar situation right now is I'd rather take Drew in round 2 because, I don't necessarily love drafting a quarterback in round 1 to sit him for 2 or even 3 seasons. But listen, man, if you bring back Dante Jackson at corner, you feel good about the tackle situation, you feel good about your wide receiver position, like say you sign T. Higgins in free agency, you don't have a whole lot of other needs, then yeah, I think that getting a guy like Drew Allar, if he's available, number 27th overall or wherever the Steelers end up picking, if you are able to get a guy in Drew Allar, I think that's something that maybe makes sense for the Pittsburgh Steelers, especially if they have other needs on their team already filled up by the draft next spring. So let me know down there in the comments section, is it too early to draft Drew Allar in round 1? He is pretty raw and he does need to develop, but he's also massively talented and has the talent to be a franchise quarterback. So let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section. Type D for draft or type P for pass on Drew Allar in round 1. Another Steelers mock draft this week, this time from ESPN, has the Steelers taking cornerback out of Kentucky, Maxwell Hairston, who has had a very good season for the Wildcats this year. ESPN's Field Yates was the author of this particular mock draft, and this is what he had to say about Hairston's fit with the Pittsburgh Steelers. When studying Hairston's 2023 film over the summer, his instincts and feel for the game stood out to me. He has a subtle way of knowing the perfect time to attack and create turnover opportunities. That continued in 2024, accumulating 1 pick six, his 6th career INT, 2 forced fumbles, 5 pass breakups, and 1 sack over 7 games. Pittsburgh must continue to add at cornerback with Dante Jackson scheduled for free agency, and Hairston would help the Steelers stay among the top turnover-creating defenses in the National Football League. So listen, man, I think Hairston's a good player. Right now, PFF has him ranked in the 70s in terms of the overall ranking on their big board, so maybe first round is a bit rich for him, in my opinion. And honestly, I think that Dante Jackson is likely going to be the Steelers' solution at number 2 corner. They like what Dante has done with this defense this year. He's got the tie for the conference leading interception number there with 5 this season. He's been a real ball hawk. He's had a real nose for the football this season. He's got 8 pass breakups, 2 tackles for loss to go along with it as well. Now, the PFF grade isn't as high. It's at a 54.2, and he has had his struggles in coverage at times this year, but he's a perfect fit on the opposite side of Joey Porter Jr., because Joey is kind of that enforcer. He's that press man guy. He's the Meg defender. He's the guy you can put in press coverage, and then Dante's the guy that's, very instinctive, very fast, very good zone corner. And I think that's the kind of the dynamic the Steelers want. So as long as they can get Dante back next offseason at a decent price tag, and I think they will, I think that he'll be back with the Pittsburgh Steelers next season. So look into the future for me down there in the comment section and give me your prediction. What position will the Steelers take in round 1 of the 2025 NFL draft? Will they take a tackle again? Will they trade up for a wide receiver? Will they go up for a quarterback like Drew Allar? Do you think they could take a cornerback like the kid out of Kentucky? Let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section. Right now, I really have no idea, but if I had the best guess, I would say it's probably going to be a wide receiver. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already. Thank you guys so much for making it to the end of today's edition of Steelers News and Rumors by Chat Sports. We got more great stuff coming your way this weekend, so make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already. Until next time, guys, here we go, Steelers.